So nanood po ba kayo ng pangalawang buhos ng teleserye sa Senado kahapon? Mainit ang naging ikalawang araw ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte na pangalawa sa nakasulat sa ating memo ngayong araw matapos ang ilang naging palitan ng prosecution at depensa. Medyo mas naging maanghang daw kaysa noong unang araw.
Nagsimula na nga ring iharap ng prosecution ng unang testigo at ebidensya kaugnay ng kasong grave threat ng Vice Presidente. Nang tanungin namin ng publiko kung dapat bang makaboto ang mga nakakulong na senador, ang sabi nila,
dapat payagan silang bumoto sa impeachment. Alam naman natin, kabawasan ng pagboto para sa impeachment.
Dapat payagan silang bumoto. Una-una kasi, alam naman ng lahat ng tao na politically motivated yung mga yan. Kaya sila kinulong para hindi sila makaboto dito sa impeachment trial.
Dapat hindi. Kasi yung function sila bilang mga senador ay dapat paglilingkuran yung mga Pilipino at tayo bilang bayan. Pero yung mga sanctions na kinakaharap nila ngayon ay nangangahulugang hindi sila naging tapat sa kanilang tungkulin bilang mga senador. So hindi ko gusto na hayaan na yung mga nakakulong na mga senador at maharap sa mga kaso na bumoto sa impeachment trial because it would create a bias at magiging unfair sa mga Pilipino na yung tungkulin nga nila bilang mga senador hindi na magampanan. What more pa dun sa sound decision nila para sa impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte.
Ay, ang talino niya. Talagang law student siya. Meron pa siyang logic kung bakit hindi daw. Pero alam mo, nagulat ako, Willard, kahapon doon sa balita na kahit si Senador Bong Revilla ay hindi pinayagan na makalabas para pumunta sa lamay
ng kapatid.
Ang sinasabing dahilan ng, I think it was Sandigan Bayan, if I'm not mistaken, ay dahil nga sa it will set a precedent. Hindi ba? Na kapag namatayan, ang iba pang mga nakakulong,
Papayagan din
papayagan
dapat.
nila. At nakakatakot, baka flight risk or something, but nagulat ako doon. So, I guess yun din ang prinsipyo dito ngayon kina Senador Marcoleta. Tingin ko hindi ko lang alam paano ang desisyon dyan. Ngayon, para himayin ang naging takbo ng paglilitis, makakasama po natin ngayon political analyst Professor Froilan Calilong. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Prof.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Corina. Good morning, Willard. Good morning din po sa lahat ng ating mga taga-subaybay. Thank you for having me again in your show.
Opo, hindi po ba innocent until proven guilty? So sila inosente pa. So bakit hindi nga naman, halimbawa in the case of Senator Bong Revilla, you think it was correct or it was lawful na hindi po siya pinayagang makalabas para mag-attend ng lamay ng kapatid?
Well, technically po kasi, lalo na kung ang kaso halimbawa plunder, alam naman natin medyo mabigat na kaso talaga, non-bailable and all, medyo may mataas na level or layers of security po ang ating mga korte, particularly here. Nga po, lalong-lalo na since it's non-bailable, meron po kasing predicament na po pwede talagang maging flight risk, yung nasasakdal. So, nasa sa korte po ang magiging desisyon. May mga pagkakataon naman na binibigyan nila ng sapat na leverage o ng leeway para po maka-attend sa ilan sa mga mahalagang tagpo. Halimbawa, kagaya nga nito, lamay, binibigyan ng polo yung iba. Pero depende po talaga yan sa kaso at depende rin po doon sa presiding officer, yung may hawak mismo ng kaso.
So you mean, pwede pang mag-apila? Halimbawa, mag-aapila ang kampo ni former Senator Revilla, pwede sila mag-apila?
Yes, they can definitely do that. Then again, that will be again subject to the approval nung mismong may hawak ng kaso, nung presiding judge.
Ayun, okay.
Pero ito, Prof, sa issue na pinag-uusapan ngayong araw, tingin niyo ba dapat pagbotohan or payagang bumoto ang mga senador na nakakulong sa impeachment trial?
Well, para po sa akin kasi, number one, there are actually two schools of thought. Number one, they need to actually take the oath personally for them to become, senator judges, and they really need to sit down in the impeachment trial for them to really come up with a good way of deliberating and weighing the evidences and the testimonies that were presented before them. Kasi parang mahirap naman talaga kung ikaw ay isang judge, no, and you're not there personally to witness the trial or the proceeding itself, and then how could you come up with a good, well-grounded and rational decision, and also yun yung medyo contention dito, no. And then on the other side naman kasi, they're saying that in this ancient time wherein we have everything fully digital, we have the internet, we have social media, po pwedeng masubaybayan, ano, from anywhere yung nangyayari, no. But we need to understand na para sa akin, mas maganda po talaga na nandoon sila. Ngayon kasi kung hindi sila talaga makaka-attend dito sa pagdinig, ano, at ang mangyayari kasi dito is that they will be entering a vote of either abstain or no, this will be a problem also, especially for the prosecution kasi ang kakailanganin nila dito 16, no? So yung 3 halimbawa na yon, po pwede kasing magboto pa yon, ano, either way, it could go either way depending on how they see the issue, although itong 3 na to masasabi natin na talagang ano to, no, politically nandun talaga to sa bloke ng mga Duterte, pero again I would like to think, no, that at the end of the day, because of the evidences and the testimonies that will be given, many senator judges could still change their thinking and their minds and judge according to the principles of fairness and equity.
Ayun, kaya pala na madali. The number one
Oo.
requirement is kailangan manumpa ka as senator judge. Kasi
Pero,
pwede pa rin
oo.
naman siyang, hindi po ba, no, attorney, professor, na ito pong si attorney, si Senador Marcoleta, pwede pa rin naman siyang ma-aresto even as a trial is ongoing, pero hindi talaga pinanumpa.
Oo, pero nakapanumpa ata sila no?
Nakapanumpa na ba
Corina?
sila?
Oo.
I see. Okay. Hindi na lang talaga napag-attend ng
Oo.
unang araw.
Unang araw. Talagang sinakto no?
Yan po yung opinion ko lang. Baka akala nila, it's not really a fact. But
Oo.
talagang ganun yung timing, kaya nga pinaghinalaan na unequal justice or selective justice. Okay, sinabi po ni Attorney Cayosa kahapon, Prof, na dapat ang Constitution ay nakabase sa spirit of the law, which by the way, I agree with. Kaya dapat nakabatay sa tinatawag niyang qualified majority ang botohan. So, but the thing is, nagdesisyon na yata po talaga ang buong Senado na it is definitive, it has to be 16 votes. So, do you share the same sentiment? By the way, ang sabi po ni Attorney Cayosa, paano kung 15 na lang ang natirang senador dahil lahat nagnakaw o dahil lahat kinasuhan ng plunder? What will happen then? Ano po sa tingin ninyo?
Well, para po sa akin kasi, no, siguro sabihin na natin medyo purist talaga yung aking interpretation dito sa isinasaad ng ating saligang batas, that the contention in so far as the denominator is concerned and the threshold remains to be 16 kasi binabanggit po nung ating saligang batas talaga all. No? So although yun nga another school of thought may say na po pwedeng mabawasan ito depending doon sa denominator or sa bilang talaga ng mga present at uma-attend doon sa pagdinig. But we need to understand also, no, that the Constitution was also very clear as to what will constitute people or bar people from participating, no? Yan halimbawa kung sila ay nag-resign, kung sila ay namatay, permanent disability, or kung sila man ay nakasuhan mismo ng Senado and that they were already expelled, no? So barring those circumstances, I think they are still considered to be senators of the country, and definitely they should be included doon sa ating threshold, no? So yun nga po binabagi ko kanina, kung hindi sila makakaboto, hindi talaga sila makaka-attend, ang ini-enter po natin ng boto rito is no or abstain, and this again will be harder on the part of the prosecution kasi ang kakailanganin pa rin nila is 16. Kasi ang goal natin dito, ang titingnan natin kasi kung mababawasan yung threshold, po pwede kasi itong maging in favor doon sa majority. Kung halimbawa, if we just go by the numbers, no, kung talagang political alliances ang pagbabatayan natin, meron na silang 13. Kung halimbawa, binaba natin to sa 15 o 14, they only need 1 more or 2 more na to join their ranks, and they will be able to have a conviction. Pero ngayon kasi 16 siya, medyo 13 lang sila, no? Kakailanganin na nila magpatawid ng 3 para sila ay makasiguro ng conviction.
It doesn't make sense to me. Kasi sabi nga po ninyo, all senators. It has to be 2/3 of all senators. Hindi nga pagbobotohin eh. They cannot even appreciate the discussion and all the presentation of evidence. So, how can it be all? I think maybe all in the room. Okay, so we're being purist about it and very literal. Ganon din po sa palagay ko, ewan ko yung circumstansya, hindi ko na matandaan in the case of jurisprudence, ito pong nangyari. Before that, seems to be the sole basis of the interpretation today. Na medyo iba yung circumstansya. Wala po bang paraan para palitan yung nasa saligang batas?
This are actually, yun nga po, Ms. Corina, no? Dahil ang ating saligang batas ay tinatawag nating inflexible. This is actually quite difficult to do, no? Kasi we have a written constitution to begin with. Medyo mahirap po talaga siya, unless of course, we could do some surgical amendments. Pero alam naman natin sa Constitution, kapag surgical amendments ang ginawa natin, yung mga contentious provisions, lalo na kung mga political provisions kagaya nito, it will always be met with a lot of stiff resistance, no? At medyo mahirap po talaga siyang itawid. In fact, sa Constitution nga natin, yung mga economic provisions na gusto nating isulong surgically, hindi po nagagawa because may pangamba that it will open the floodgates to possible changes doon sa mga contentious political provisions. And so this is really the problematic thing right now, no? Ang siguro pinagbabatayan nila ng mga purists dito is the fact na yung mismong framers ng Constitution, like a former Chief Justice Hilario David, already made his side and was clear on his position that it should really be 16. No? Yun siguro ang isang solidong batayan, no, ng mga naniniwala na dapat 16 at hindi ibababa yung threshold.
At ang paliwanag po sa ating kagabi nung ating panauhin sa on point, spokesperson of the impeachment trial, Attorney Tonggol, ang sabi po niya, kapag pinalitan daw natin yan, you will have to undo the decision from before. Tama po ba yun? Kapag pinalitan natin yung 2/3 threshold?
Yes, magkakaroon po ng retroactive effect po kasi yan no? Doon sa mga previous decisions. And so again, this may be quite difficult. Although doon naman po sa usapin halimbawa kung doon kay CJ Corona, kung maalala natin, mataas naman po talaga. They were actually more than 16 who voted in favor of conviction. So hindi naman talaga siya magti-take effect doon, precisely. And yun naman kay former President Erap Estrada, alam naman natin, hindi naman to umabot talaga doon sa passing ng verdict, no? Hindi naman talaga umabot sa putahan. Pero yun, meron siyang effect retroactively sa mga previous cases if they are applied or if they are applicable.
Base naman doon, Prof, sa nangyari kahapon, tingin niyo ho ba ay na-establish ng prosekusyon yung alegasyong grave threat ni Vice President Sara Duterte laban sa Pangulo, sa First Lady at sa dating House Speaker? At least on track sila doon sa pag-establish noon?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I think while many of our countrymen are saying that the defense actually was able to score on the first day, alam naman po natin na yung first day kasi it's just presentation lang naman ng opening statements, no? Wala pa talagang trial proper, wala pa talagang mga ebidensyang ipinesenta, no? Pero kahapon kasi when they called their first witness and the prosecution actually made the cross-examination, I think they were able to score here, no? Repeatedly the defense tried to counter with the objections, but these objections were overruled naman by the presiding officer at nakita po natin na maganda yung pagkakalatag ng prosecution po hapon, I mean their legal counsel was also on point, no, especially with the fourth article, which is grave threats, no. Nga lang, mas kinakailangan pa siguro talagang palalimin, at siguro in the coming days, we shall see kung ano ba talaga yung magiging takbo nung fourth article. Pero siguro I think we need to give props also to the presiding officer, Senator Chis Escudero, for doing a good job, so far, presiding and laying down the rules for the impeachment, no. Kaya nagiging orderly, and at the same time kung may mga if ever tensions are rising, medyo it's easily being quelled, no, by the presiding officer, which I think it's a good job on his part.
Kaapelidin yung senior agent, sir, na sumalang sa witness stand, si John Mark Calilong. Kamag-anak niyo ho ba?
No, I'm not so sure, Pero dami nga na po nagtatanong, pero hindi ko po siya kilala personally.
Hindi ko rin kamag-anak si Jessica Sanchez. At hindi ko rin kamag-anak si Mayor Sanchez.
Ay, okay,
Naaalala
okay.
mo si Mayor
Oo nga.
Sanchez. Okay. Sir, so there was an opinion that as soon as it is established that the video wherein the Vice President was, well, threatening the President, First Lady Lisa and former Speaker Martin Romualdez, as soon as authenticity of that video is established, it already constitutes grave threats and thereby could be the sole basis for conviction. Ano po sa palagay nyo?
Yes, maaari po naman talaga mangyari yan. Actually, in fact, we really don't need to go over all the 4 articles of impeachment. Kung talagang at the onset, meron na talaga tayong verifiable and unquestionable, insurmountable na ebidensya, na masasabi natin na talagang magiging basis for conviction. Again, this will more or less save time for us, at para kumaga mas maganda kung makakapagbotohan na sila kung talagang ito pa lang is enough na. Pero with the way I think it's gonna go, I think the strategy here of the defense is to start off with what they feel is quite strong on their end, kasi medyo malakas talaga tong grave threats because number one, there's really a video, yung kasing mas contentious at mas debatable na mga articles kagaya yung sa kanyang confidential funds at yung SALN, I think the defense rather the prosecution may need more evidences and testimonies to corroborate with this, Pero kasi itong grave threats, masasabi natin kasi as it is, I mean, res ipsa facto liquidator, andyan na siya mismo, the thing in itself, as they say. So ito siguro they just need to pounce on this, and maybe this could already be a very strong case for the prosecution.
Ayun. Okay, so but I guess even the presiding officer already did mention that they will go through all 4
Right.
before they vote. Ayan, because that's their rule and they can change the rules if they want to. So sabi nga po nila, ito po'y usapang legal pero hindi maiwasan ang politika. So sa puntong ito, alin ang mas nangingibabaw, batas o ang politika? Sa totoo lang, sir.
Yeah, if we're going to go by without any call or whatever, sa punto de vista habang lumalapagad po ang impeachment, talagang ang pinag-uusapan na natin dito ay mga punto de vista ni legal. These are all legal technicalities, these are all presentation of evidences, corroborations, cross-examinations. So it's really legal. But then again, at the end of the day, especially come decision day, when they will be voting, dito natin matetest kung nagkaroon ba ng sapat na batayan at nagkaroon ba ng sapat na traction yung mga legal proceedings na to, na tinalakay for the past 90 days, to actually ensure na yung magiging boto nila nakabatay doon sa mga tinalakay na issue, Kasi kung hindi rin naman mababago yung kanilang pananaw at mananatili silang loyal doon sa kanilang mga alyansa na nabuo bago pa man magkaroon ng impeachment, parang ang sinasabi ng iba, this is a futile exercise, Parang lumalabas, meron na sila kaagad decision even before it started. But, I think barring or setting aside the would-be decision, I think what is important here is for the public to really know, from the more substantial aspect of this impeachment, kung meron ba talagang nilabag, kung meron ba talagang injustice na na-create, kung meron ba talagang accountability na hindi natupad. And I think this is what is important to understand here. The truth is, even if conviction will not happen, this particular impeachment proceeding will definitely weaken the political base of the Vice President Sara Duterte heading into the 2028 elections because she is going to be scrutinized very well here. Nagsisimula pa lang tayo pero matindi na kaagad na pagbusisi ang gagawin sa kanya rito hanggang sa matapos. Imagine 90 days of full-blown trial in national television, this will really definitely have a dent on her popularity. And if this is really the goal of her opponents, I think they will be able to accomplish it really well here in this impeachment.
Gaya ng sinabi ni VP kahapon, she will be bloodied but unbowed. Anong tingin niyo dun, Prof, sa naging
yung
kanyang
unbowed?
maikling
Okay.
pahayag? Oo.
Yeah, of course, syempre alam niya sa kanyang perception at sa perception din ng mga naniniwala at sabihin na nating supporters niya na lahat ng instrumentalities, lahat ng resources ng gobyerno since 2023 is already being directed towards her, and this is really more of a culmination of that, for her. And sa kanyang pananaw na talagang mayroong political persecution na nangyayari na we-weaponize including the law parang kagaya nga nitong impeachment na to, I think that is where she is coming from. And of course, this is also a way for her to actually solidify yung kanyang sabihin na nating voter base, yung kanyang political base, yung kanyang political camp, to really make the impression that all of these things is only politically motivated. But at the end of the day, I will always say that this is bound to happen, and I think it should happen para na rin siguro ma-proteksyonan natin at makita natin kung meron ba talagang ginawang mali at kung meron ba talagang accountability na nalabag. And I think this is something na maganda rin para matuturin yung ating mga kababayan. Alam niyo, natutuwa ako kapag may impeachment tayo because dumadami yung mga lawyers, dumadami yung mga legal pundits natin kahit sa mga barberya, sa lansangan, sa jeepney, a lot of them are already talking about law, and I think this is good for public information and public knowledge.
Oo, para ma-exercise naman yung ating lohika. Hindi yung puro damdamin. Kasi hindi ba, kung puro damdamin, ang hirap kailangan talaga nakabatay sa batas ang lahat ng nangyayari sa atin. Kasi may dahilan kaya tayo may batas. Okay, so sa palagay po ninyo, dapat ba siyang umappear? Sabi nga po ni Attorney Cayo sa kahapon, she's the only one who knows what was going on in her head and what the context really was about this particular video. And if this video is the one big meteorite ba? Ano nga ba yung kay
Smoke.
Superman?
Yung kryptonite?
Kryptonite, sorry,
oo.
meteorite. If this is the one kryptonite against her, kailangan talaga, dito pa lang, mapatunayan na niya na wala siyang intensyong masama. So, dapat ba siyang pumunta para depensahan ang kanyang sarili?
Sa ganang akin, lahat naman siguro ng nasasakdal ng Corina, kinakailangan talaga ng kanilang presensya. Ideally, for me, mas maganda na nandoon siya. Tama po kayo, to really pluck the emotions and what is really going on in her mind during that time. Kasi even if you have a legal counsel, but then again, you can only say as much, especially in this particular video, this is really all emotions, talagang this was fueled by that outburst, sabi nga nila meltdown, pero mas maganda talaga na mailahad mo ito, personally, kung bakit mo nasabi at ano yung naging motivations mo behind it, because not all of these things could be relayed to your legal counsel. So I think siguro maganda rin na yung idea na siya ay pupunta sa kanyang paglilitis at least once, not necessarily naman every day, pero yun nga, kapag may mga pagkakataon na kakailanganin talaga yung kanyang presensya, maganda rin po na nandoon siya para ipakita rin sa taong bayan na talagang humaharap siya doon sa mga kaso na ibinabato laban sa kanya personally.
Do you see any possibility that she will be compelled to appear, or it is really within her rights to appear or not?
Actually, there's really no hard and fast rule naman po, Ma'am Corina, with regards to the appearance. In fact, even in the Constitution, wala naman po talagang compellence mechanism for her to actually attend. So it's really out of her volition, and at the same time, kung talagang sa tingin niya kakailanganin, and I think it's the defense when they are when the defense will be with the chance of the defense to cross-examine, baka po mas pipiliin niyang umattend kapag yung defense na ang maglalahad ng kanilang posisyon. So again, wala po talaga tayong batas or provision sa Constitution that compels her to attend.
Ano kaya pinagmitingan nila at ng kanyang abogado?
Alam mo, ang
Hapon,
tingin
oo.
ko doon, ewan ko sa inyo, Prof, ha, ang tingin ko parang gimmick eh. Hindi ba? I mean, I'm sure they had to meet, but why did they have to meet at the Senate? Hindi ba?
Pwedeng tumawag na lang kung may gusto iparating.
Oo, hindi. Gusto talagang iparating ni VP, ni Inday Sara, yung bloodied and bludgeoned but not bowed.
Siguro defiance na rin.
No, parang
Oo.
defiance, parang okay, I'm here but I don't need to face all of you. Hindi ba parang ganon? Pero yun na nga ang kasunod doon, Prof. Sabi ni, was it Jervy Luistro or Chel Jokno. Chel Jokno was saying, okay, well and good, bloodied, bludgeoned, but not bowed. Pero sagutin mo na lang yung sagutin mo na lang ang mga akusasyon. Sa yun na naman ang kanilang sinasabi. And malalaman na lang natin yan by the end. Yun na nga, hindi ba maghihintay tayo ng matagal?
Oo, 90 days pa.
90 days
Oo.
bago natin malaman itong sa unang article of impeachment. Do you think that is wise on the part of, say, the prosecution, yung magtatagal po ng ganon bago ilahad ang kanilang mga boto on each of the articles?
Well, yun nga po, kasi I think what they would want to establish here is yung parang yung holistic dimension po nung paglilitis as a whole in its totality. And yun nga yung medyo kasi ang tagal po talaga. I agree with that, no. Really sometimes parang you tend to question what's the logic behind why that particular length of time, no, when in fact they could already make it swiftly or at least a little bit faster. Pero I think again at the end of the day we really need to respect the rationality behind the decision. And yun siguro nakikita ko rito talagang they would want to make a good holistic account of the entire proceeding before they actually make their decision.
Prof, tingin niyo ho ba magiging relevant pa sa impeachment trial yung BIR box laman, yung tax records ng mag-asawang Duterte? Kasi so far, binalik na ito sa BIR office. Tingin niyo ho ba at one point kailangan ibalik ito sa impeachment court at mapag-usapan at buksan?
Well, yun nga po, the mere fact that it was already brought back now, mukhang hindi talaga siya, alam din siguro ng prosecution that they may be facing some legal backlash if ever they will continue to include this BIR box. No? Pero yun nga, depende po kasi yan, depende sa magiging, kumbaga sa galaw at doon sa traction na makikreate, especially by the prosecution. If at any point in time they feel that there is this necessary compellence, na gamitin nila yun, to really more, solidify their case, or if they're seeing na medyo humihina yung kanilang case, baka i-float nila ulit yung idea na yun. But I think it has already been decided, no? And but it adds to the mystery, no? Kung naalala natin parang yung second envelope ng era of impeachment, no? Na para bang everyone was actually thinking what's inside, and all of a sudden there's none inside. But then again, it created a very tremendous impact, and what happened afterwards, we already have EDSA dos. So, tignan natin kung ano ba talaga po ang magiging kalakaran. In an impeachment proceeding like this, masyado po kasing mahaba at masyadong matagal. Recalibrating of positions and options, and weighing down and trying to see the directions is very, very important for both camps. And dito po pwede talaga silang magpresenta ulit ng mga bagong dokumento, or po pwede nang buhayin ulit itong BIR box. So we cannot conclude on that yet.
Alright, ngayon naman ay oras na para alamin sa puntong ito ang opinyon ng ating mga manonood. Dapat magpayagan ang mga nakakulong na senador na bumoto sa impeachment trial ni VP Sara? Ang sabi nila, sabi ni Shaq, kaya nga ikinulong dahil may anomalya. Ha, ha, ha.
Talagang
Sinama ko na rin.
Efren Wanson, dapat lang kasi di pa sila guilty at senador pa rin sila. Sabi naman niya.
Sabi naman ni Alfredo Villamor, pag pinayagan, dapat si Bato payagan din na lumabas sa lungga.
Malaya naman siyang lumabas. Ayaw lang niyang lumabas. Jean Montes, hindi. Suspended na sila as a public official from dispensing their oath, from functioning as a government employee.
Sabi naman ni Mon de la Cruz, elected by the people of the Philippines. Why not? It's part of their duty.
Ayan. Okay, so Prof, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Professor Kalilong. Thank you po.
Salamat po. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you,
Salamat
sir.
po.